knew that I'm HIV positive, I was at denial about 7 years ago.
I'm one of the people living with HIV, and the stigma was very high, especially in the health fraternity, whereby even your own colleagues would abandon you.
We were all born into this world and hold the right to enjoy it. We are a people living against all odds. We are fighting for survival. We are fighting to wake up one morning in a stigma-free society. Yes, we are demanding for dialogue to address HIV and AIDS stigma. And true, with Inerela, Kenya, our voices are being heard.
My first time with Inerela, Kenya, then Kenerela, was during the initial stages of its inception.
One of my line managers invited me over for a pastors or religious meeting with Inerela, Kenerela.
They told me there's a group of religious leaders who have come together and they're having the same challenges as you have. Some have lost their family members to HIV and AIDS, some of them are living positively.
They involved health workers, people living with HIV, and the religious leaders.
Being a religious leader, we have our spheres of influence. And the sphere of influence that I have is both on the radio and in some congregations.
As a person living with HIV and a clergy, I joined Inerela, and then they began giving us empowerment programs which helped me even to disclose.
I'm very grateful for what the Inerela has done in my life on enlightening me on the issues of HIV.
According to the UN AIDS Gap report that was done in 2014, Kenya was ranked 4th in Africa with high levels of HIV/AIDS infections. The report stated that the country has 1.6 million people living with HIV, 6% adult HIV prevalence, 100,000 new HIV infections, 58,000 AIDS-related deaths, and 42% adults on antiretroviral treatments. With such alarming reports and with the facilitation of Inerela, Kenya held its first national dialogue dubbed Empowering Each Other in Love and Dialogue on the 18th of February 2015. The dialogue was between religious leaders and PL-HIVs who laid down strategies on how to defeat stigma.
Communities, we still refer to HIV or AIDS in very negative naming that fuels stigma. For example, we say mukiko, which signifies thinness. In another tribe, we say bitia, which means finished. We call it a live wire, we call it so many things. I think there's need to change that.
Two issues strongly came out from the dialogue: the need to collaborate amongst the faith congregations and community, and increased advocacy efforts to address stigma in religious institutions.
Some years back, it was very high, where patients would be neglected. People with HIV would not be attended to.
With the awareness of HIV and AIDS comparatively high in Kenya, many PL-HIVs face high levels of stigma and discrimination.
I learned of my status year 2002, when the stigma was very high. There was nobody to counsel you.
As a man of God, not as the government of Kenya, I will never allow mtu wa mwanaume amerukaruka dunia nzima amepata virusi amepata msichana ya mtu, alafu mimi nisema ati nyinyi enda kwa counseling, muwe counseled. Ukipenda kuona. As a man of God, I have an obligation to say this is wrong. Because if I allow some things, when I know it is wrong, I can please these people to get married. But I have an obligation to serve the Lord and tell people where there is wrong and where there is the truth.
Nilikuwa na signs and symptoms zote za HIV. Sasa nikaenda kwa kanisa moja hapo penye tunaishi. Sister wangu anapenda tuombe kwa kanisa kwa ajili ya juu nilikuwa na signs and symptoms, pastor akaanza kuhubiri. Pastor akasema hata kama uko na virusi na uko hapa, wewe jitokeze tu kuja kwa madhabahu, upige magoti. Akakuja akanipick kwa kiti kwenye nilikuwa na taiki. Akasema wewe niko na signs and symptoms. Nikaondoka tu kwa roho. Mpaka leo siwezi. Kwa hivyo stigma bado siko kwa churches.
The stigma is actually created by people lacking the knowledge on HIV.
There are some churches that have sorted the issue of stigma, but in some churches it has not yet been sorted.
Kanisa tumekuwa kipaumbele kwa kuwaelezea kulingana na ile elimu tumepata, na kupitia knowledge ya Mungu tunaweza kuwasaidia, na hiyo stigma naona ikiendelea kupungua.
I must confess, the other day I was actually apologizing to the church that I used to pastor in Kayole for the messages that I preached to them those early days, in the days that I did not know. Messages like some of you look like people who have been put on a hand because you have been moving all around. Such messages, I preached them. On Sunday, I had an opportunity to apologize to the church.
To defeat stigma, religious leaders have a universal responsibility to shape and serve human needs through formulating and sharing positive messages that can help in reduction of HIV/AIDS, responding to health and social issues, as well as acting as catalysts in defeating HIV-related stigma.
The tips that I got and the enlightenment on HIV through Inerela has enabled me to incorporate the information in my sermon, in my teaching.
I have called different members of the society, or rather the community, and exposed some details regarding stigma, discrimination, and the like.
We have a number of programs, not really reaching out as such, but through the programs we get people that are affected or infected that need counseling. So there is a community outreach right in this organization, Transworld Radio, that does that.
By giving people knowledge, that brings the stigma down.
The issue of stigma is yet to be established and to be tackled well.
In an effort to foster an environment that is free of stigma and discrimination, Inerela, Kenya has been working with the churches to fight against sermons and prayers that stigmatize people that are living with or affected by HIV/AIDS.
I'm always very careful when I am preaching and having conversations with the members of the church, in the church, that I don't reach the areas where they may feel exposed.
We try as much as we can to be as pragmatic as possible.
Encouraging them that it is part of our challenge to manage the HIV. And we accept that if we are not infected, we are affected.
I've helped members of the congregation know what it is to stigmatize a person living with HIV.
In fact, we don't call people with HIV mugonjwa. We tell them they are just living with a condition. And for us who are on drugs, we say with an improved condition.
And of late, we have started a CBO within the church
to engage other pastors so that they can know that there is something called stigma.
Some pastors who have come on Inerela board are able to advocate and educate the churches about HIV and AIDS openly.
The church has done it. It has done it, though there is more to be done.
Inerela has gone to the grassroots to ensure that the church passes stigma-free information. The organization has been working with various churches like the Free Pentecostal Church in Kayole, Nairobi Calvary Temple, PCA Ruiru, among others.
I am helping the other pastors in this eastern region by calling them and involving them in small and big seminars once in a while.
We also encourage our deacons, our elders to identify if somebody is HIV and positive and we need to take care. We go and work with them and then encourage them how to live about that.
The religious leaders can increase opportunities for dialogue with persons living with HIV in many ways. You can invite somebody from outside who is open about his status to come in and talk about his life with the virus.
You should hear from the one who is wearing the shoes, which is pinching. And this is the person living with HIV. People living with HIV have a lot of information that religious leaders do not have. They get those information from the clinics, the CCC where they go. They know whether there is a new drug, they know whether there is a new outbreak.
We should come together as religious leaders, encourage the dialogue. The dialogue should not be something that we fear. We have ministers who have come out, they are positive. We have leaders who have come out clearly, and they have really made it. They are living, because HIV is not death.
Kenya has made huge strides in tackling the HIV epidemic. However, there is need for more. With the support of the government, churches and organizations such as Inerela, we can all defeat stigma.
I've been involved with the Kisii County government at talking level on our involvement and how the faith sector should be involved.
We need the government to fund such organizations because they are really helping the government to reach their own goals. And the goal is to have a healthy nation. A healthy nation means a healthy economy and a healthy posterity.
The government of Kenya is so blessed to have partners like Inerela.
The government has actually done a lot in educating people who have living with HIV as peer educators, health community workers, and that has helped a greatly deal, because most of the patients after they leave the hospital, we have a linkage between the hospital and the community through the community health workers.
Together, we can and will build a brighter future.
If you don't know your status, harakisha sasa hivi.
HIV is real. It's not a curse. It is there.
If you are HIV positive, adhere to the intervention that are put in place.
It may have happened in circumstances that you didn't know, or could be you're born with it.
Don't limit yourself to maybe sexual promiscuity. No, go for the test, because
if you don't know your status, then you are a blind driver of your life.
A person who knows his or her HIV status is an empowered person.
Knowing your status is living more.
Powers equals survival. Because when you have the knowledge, you have the power to survive. You are able to survive.
So they should not feel hopeless and be discouraged.
It's good for you to know.
The earlier they would know their status, the better.
As a person who has conquered stigma, is about yourself accepting who you are and what you are.
Where we can do our part, let us do it.
All those who are living with HIV, that they should be the last people to live with HIV. Please let your virus not go to anybody.
I want to encourage those who are in this. Inerela, NCCK, other bodies, continue to be enthusiastic on this.
People living with HIV today are so healthy, very healthy, more than even those who don't live with HIV.